Hey everybody, High Lord Tamerlane back with more Obscurities in Miniatures. Today we are filming from a new location that looks the same as the old location, except the lighting is much more poor here. Hopefully we will get that fixed soon. I am back bringing you another weekly painting progress video. So this week has been a kind of hectic week, and as we head into April and the end of spring break, I wasn't home much, which meant I didn't get much painted. So I did manage to sneak in a few figures. Some of you may have seen this, but I know I posted him before, at least somewhere online. But this is one of the Greater Possessed from the Shadow Spear box. I like mutated models. I will admit it. I have no qualms admitting that. I'm not a big fan of Chaos or Marines, but when you give me crazy mutants like this, I just can't help myself. Funny enough, I prefer the other Greater Possessed model that came in the box, and I just haven't gotten around to him yet. But soon enough, he's at least started, and he'll be coming around shortly. But I do like this guy's little happy face here on the back of his backpack. Kind of cute. Also quite a little bit bigger than a regular human figure. In addition to him, I got my Wrathmongers done. Now, I only have 3 of them, and I mentioned this as well somewhere to somebody at some point in time. These figures were the original releases when we still had the end times happening for Warhammer Fantasy. And these guys originally came on square bases, and they sat on square bases since the weekend they were released, and then they were never touched again. Actually, I take that back. Pretty soon after they were built, I painted their skin tones, and that was a couple years ago now, and I had absolutely no idea how to replicate that. So when I was trying to make some highlights, at least I figured I'd touch up the spots that I missed. And here's another one. And I noticed that I did the colors the alternate way of what GW had posted on their website, but who cares? It's my guy. So there's another of the Wrathmongers. He's cool. I could never figure out what to do with him, actually, when I first started painting him, and that's why they kind of languished for the last few years. I really like this model. I don't know what it is. I think it's the fact that he has 3 arms. I like it so much, I am debating about picking up another box of Wrathmongers, even though I just finished building another 5 Skull Reapers that I cobbled together out of extra pieces from the last box that I had. And I think I just ordered some bits in order to finish those guys in the first place. Finally, here is the one last Wrathmonger, and I really wish the lighting was better in here because it doesn't pick out the colors very well. Hopefully, when I look at this on the screen, it'll look a little bit better than it does in person on the camera. I'm not super happy with it. This model, I had a horrible time trying to get off his base, despite only having 1 leg there. I felt I was going to snap his foot off. He was another square baser, and he just did not want to cooperate coming off of his original base. But we got him off in the end. That's what counts. Alright, what else do we got? Random Blood Rage figure. I want to say this guy is from the Serpent Clan? Serpent or Raven? Raven Clan. Because he's got the little birdie on the top of his helmet there. And now that I think about it, he is hanging out with the Odin dude who's got the ravens on his shoulders. So a really lame looking pattern on his shield there. I think the Raven Clan is supposed to have a blue color scheme. I don't actually know. I don't even remember. He was a mauvish, purpley color originally. But he's painted. I have no idea what I'm going to use him for, but, you know, I'll find some purpose for him. I feel like I'll probably end up doing some kind of Song of Blades and Heroes with all these random cool minifigures I keep painting. I like him, though. Speaking of the random board game type figures, here's another other side South Wales Borderer. So he's got a very interesting set of pneumatic hands there to beat the snot out of his opponents with. I'm realizing I didn't do a whole lot on his backpack or any of his little bits there. There's just these little brass knobs on the ends, and that's all I bothered to do. That probably needs a little bit of touch-up and extra pizzazz added to it. Speaking of things that need pizzazz, here is a blood letter. I was going to call him a bloodthirster, but he's not. This was a sample test bloodthirster. I have a unit of them. I said bloodthirster again anyway. Blood letter. It's a blood letter. He was my sample model before I committed going whole hog and actually painting up the rest of the unit. The rest of the group are about 90% done at this point, and I'm hoping to have them all finished by next week. These are from the Wrath and Rapture box that I ended up with a bunch of just because I wanted all the flesh hounds. Now I got a bunch of bloodletters too. I couldn't decide what to do with the blade, so I just went with an orange highlight around the edges. I did a really cool one once upon a time. This is like the third or fourth unit of bloodletters I painted, but the others all were a long time ago and not as good, and they all got flipped on eBay anyway. Speaking of test models, here is a random Vanguard Kings of War Succubi model from the Lower Abyssal Army. And it's hard to see, but she's got a very purplish skin, and they went with a white color scheme with her armor, loincloth, and whatever it's called. Clothing, that's the word. So I had a hard time figuring out what to do with her facial features. They were really soft and mushy, and it's really hard to see, but she's got really boring red eyes. Man, the light here sucks. I apologize for that. I'm going to have to work on that. And then, so yeah, she's got a square base too, because that's what all the Kings of War figures are supposed to have, and I'm really weird about not having models on their original bases most of the time. Most of the time is the operative word there. So that's her. And finally, something we haven't had in a while is a Kingdom Death figure. This is the Kingdom Death High line. That is their line of, obviously, high school anime-inspired outfits for their iconic characters, and this is one of the white speakers. So I liked the pose. I know I've probably mentioned it. I spent a lot of time in Japan, have spent a lot of time in Japan for the last almost 20 years. So it has a soft spot seeing the school uniforms. I tried to paint it up in colors similar to relatives of mine, my wife specifically, in the school in their area where she grew up, but it wasn't exact, and it's not like it's a real uniform anyway. I'm not super pleased with how the facial features ended up. They're pretty well defined, but I had a hard time getting that mask done, and I don't even remember what I did with my other white speakers, and I can't find them now, so that didn't help. Like the old 90s socks, that was a nice touch. These weird faces on all of her gear is very Evangelion, especially we got the two of them right there. Now, this is one of the photo resin models. These were, I want to say they're actually off of a 3D printer. They were 3D printed in resin, I believe, is how it all worked out. The first models that Kingdom Death did that with, this is their To Death Do Us Part couple. But this was their first of the new kind of funky line. I've got just about all of the models. The only issue I've really had with these Kingdom Death High models is the fact that they have even less space on the base for their feet. They're very fragile. So she got pinned on there. That wasn't that big a deal. I'm probably going to have to pin a lot of the other ones. One of them I actually had to pass on because it just looks so fragile the way it was actually based. I want to say it was the one with the inline skates. So we passed on that. But I've got the rest of the line, and slowly but surely I will work my way through them because I really do enjoy painting the Kingdom Death stuff, even if I don't do a very good job at it. I'm no, Patreon paint all the minis type that's gonna have be winning crystal brushes, but I do enjoy the line nonetheless, and I'd like to think that I've slowly but steadily progressed since painting my very first model from Kingdom Death. So that's what I got done. I got accomplished this week. Not I got done. 3 Wrathmongers, a Bloodletter, a Viking, a Succubi, a high school girl, a Cockney Reject, because they're the greatest Cockney ripoff, and a Greater Possess. So how many is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 models? Not bad. I'd like to shoot for double digits, so hopefully with this week's batch I can get even more done, but not a bad haul. So as always, like I like to say, if I can manage to get things done with my crazy and hectic life, what's your excuse? Come on, get those brushes painting. That said, this is High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching. Check out some of our other videos. Bye-bye for now.